It's no accident that sounds like you're leveling up in a video game. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds have an online dating profile.
Make them work for it.
45% of people say they're more frustrated with this form of dating than hopeful.
There are so many people you can connect with.
Should I swipe right?
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong. Setting the record straight on dating apps. Everyday people telling everyday stories of the swipe right world with your host, Koss.
Well, I know he had a good time.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night whenever you want to listen to the show. We're so there for you, totally. However you want to listen to. You want to listen to it on podcast platform, cool. But this week, you definitely want to check out the YouTube channel. I'm about to explain why. Welcome to the #1 podcast amongst aspiring gold medal winners everywhere. That's what we're going to go with right now, aspiring. You just go for it. Go for it. Whatever gold, whether it be swimming, gymnastics, track and field, dating, adult activities. If there's a gold medal involved, go get that gold medal. I am that guy. You guys know me. I am that guy. I am Chaos. Welcome to the Swipe Wrong podcast. This week's going to be a lot of fun. This week is super, super cool. This is one where you definitely have to check out the YouTube channel. Props to the guy, the great and powerful Oz, Jay Pelham, who produces the show, has the ideas and just keeps my mind going on the different stuff that we can do. We're looking forward to a lot of stuff that's out there. So hopefully you'll see that guy coming down the pipe here in a little bit. So the reason why, like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends about it, share with everybody, give us a call, 317-426-6616, email us at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. Whatever we can do, however we can be there for you. I've had multiple conversations with multiple people over the past few days even. I know I talked about it here recently, but love the engagement and love to see what we can do to help. Like, that's our whole goal. Like, that's it. Like, we're here just to try to help as many people as we can in all the different ways that we can. So the reason I keep saying check out the YouTube channel, this is one where there's some good video with this. We've taken some of the shows from the past, and it's been put together to where, well, I'll tell you what. Check out the YouTube channel. Listen to it as you're rolling through, in traffic or whatever. But there's a lot of cool stuff on this one, so check it out. Sit back, relax, put your feet up, grab your popcorn. Get it buttered if you so desire. Throw some caramel on there if you're in traffic. Please don't hit that person next to you. And the reason why I was so cryptic is because you're going to sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode known as the best of the worst.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions or any entities they represent. This podcast is about dating experiences. It is not to say one dating app is better or worse than another.
Early on, I met this guy. Early on in my dating naivety, I met this guy. We went out a couple of times, totally hit it off, had a ton of fun together. Things were great. And I got a phone call from him one night, and I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, what's going on or whatever. And this girl just starts screaming at me.
Oh, shit.
Like, I know who you are and I know what you're doing. What are you talking about? And she's like, she proceeds to, scream at me about how she and this guy just bought a house and they're living together. And I'm like, jeez. Oh shit, and I'm like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I had no idea this was happening. First assumption a guy's on a dating site is that he's actually single.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Shockingly, that's not a fair assumption.
No.
But I'm like, I started apologizing to her. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I didn't do anything wrong here, And she's just screaming at me. And I'm like, listen, I have been where you are. But like, I am not the person you need to be yelling at. Like, you need to have a conversation with him, And she's just still screaming at me. I finally just hung up the phone.
But I was on a date once and she was sitting there and she was talking about how her sister hates her job. And I just got up and walked out. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I just got up and went home. And then I got home and I was like, oh, I didn't pay.
What prompted you just getting up and walking out after hearing that?
Because after 10 minutes of being with somebody, you're thinking, this is the best conversation they have. How their sister hates their job. Imagine being with this person for 15 years. This is the best she has to offer. I was like, nope. I put on pants for this.
He was really, really funny. And I thought that was really, really nice. And he lived in London. And he had this romantic idea of choosing to go someplace where both of us had never been before. And that I would hop on the train that he was already on out of London. So I thought, that sounds really nice. That's quite interesting. We couldn't really find a place that was en route that we hadn't been before. So he chose Clacton. Quite a deprived area, but it does have a pier with the rides and the games on it. So I thought, okay, well, he's trying to be fun. So I get to the train station and he had agreed to meet me on the platform because he had to switch trains when he came into my town. And we talked in advance about, he said, don't worry about getting all dressed up. Just be yourself, be casual. And I thought, God, this guy's really sounding great. And he said, I'm just going to be wearing some trainers and sweatpants. Well, when I saw him on the platform, he literally was wearing sweatpants. Very, very dirty, ripped, like what you've been gardening in or painting all day long, sweatpants, and a really wrinkled t-shirt. So like no effort went into that outfit. And that was my first impression. The whole time he was talking, and I was just thinking, first of all, he doesn't look like anyone that I want to spend time with.
Sure.
We're going to a town where I don't really want to go with him. So that's going to be 3 hours of my life. What do you think I did?
Look, that's an internal struggle. There's no wrong answer, but I really hope you left.
I left. You're right.
Get a girl.
And I was honest about it. I was honest. And I said, this doesn't feel right to me. And I'm really sorry that you've traveled all this way. And I feel really awful about that. I really, really, really do. But I can't get on the train with you.
When I first got on Tinder, there was a date with this guy and we were set to meet at 7:00 down at Manhattan Creamery.
Our favorite.
Our favorite, right?
Yeah,
that's the spot. So it was a very cold night. It was during like, I want to say it was like fall moving into winter at that point. So I let him know, hey, I'm going to stop and just grab a jacket really quick from my friend's store. And then I'll be about 10 minutes. I get down there. I walk in with a bag of like, I think it was like my old sweater or something. And then I have my new jacket on. And he looked pissed. Wow. Never met this guy, right? First time meeting, but the guy looks really pissed and just like really solemn face, like just glaring at me. And I'm like, so I take note, but I keep walking towards him and he's standing in line to get ice cream for us. And the first thing he says to me, he looks down at my little shopping bag and he's like, oh, it looks like we have a little problem, don't we? A little shopping problem.
I was part of that Facebook group. So I had been feeling like, we've been dating for 4 months and we're not progressing. So I posted in the group. I left off his name. I did not post a picture because it wasn't about incriminating him or bashing him. It was more of, hey, what do you other ladies think about this? So I posted some details about our situation. I live here. He lives there. He plays volleyball a couple nights a week. He's got a couple kids. I've got a couple kids. And really, that's all I said. And I asked the group, I said, do you think it's odd that I've never met his friends, that he hasn't asked to meet mine, that he's only available on these days? And lo and behold, somebody responded back and said, I guarantee you I know who you're talking about. And before you knew it, there's now a group of us that have all had experiences with this man. And we're all really, really close friends because of it.
it's like a toddler learning how to kiss. You know, when a toddler kisses you in the most sweetest little way, they're just like, they have their mouth open.
Yeah.
Soft, like a younger baby cousin or a niece.
Yeah, that's right. I know what you're talking about now.
Do that. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh, no.
In retrospect, I'm pretty sure the guy was fake. He was so good looking. And it did say like, it had like a list, like model, actor, whatever. He's a writer. He plays the piano. He sings. Like, you know what I mean? Like the list went on of all the things. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So I messaged him, and like right from the beginning, he was weird because I was kind of like basic, like, hey, so-and-so, how are you? And I said, so-and-so, how was your weekend? And he said, oh, it was good, but it would have been better with you in it. So already it was kind of like a weird like pickup line. And then I said something like, oh, cool. I agree, probably. What did you do? And he's like, oh, I hung out with friends, but I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about an adventure that you and I can go on together. And I was like, oh, this is kind of different than my normal, right? But most of these guys on Bumble are so boring. They don't even talk. So I kind of was like humoring this whole thing the whole way through, even when it got weird. And so
I love it. See where it goes.
So it was like, oh, cool. I'm like, tell me about this adventure. So yeah, he asked me, he's like, have you seen this Winnie the Pooh scene with the honeycombs? And I don't even know, like the bees and this and that, whatever. And I was like, no. And then he sent it to me. And he's like, watch this scene. And I want to end up like the ending scene of this clip. So I was like, okay. I watched it. And it was like I don't even really remember the video, but it's like Winnie the Pooh goes up to like the beehive and the bees are like chasing him. And then he falls in a big giant mud puddle. Like that's like the whole thing. And I'm like, so you want to end up in a big mud puddle? And he's like, exactly. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he was like, yeah, ideally, he's like, I want you to walk around and have on these little red shorts and a white or a yellow tank top or whatever. And I want your booty to be peeking out. I want you to wear these white stockings up to your knee and black Mary Janes. And like, he was so specific with all this stuff. He's like, and then we're going to have an umbrella, a black umbrella. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I think I have the clothes. I'm like, you bring the umbrella.
BYOU, bring your own umbrella.
And he's like, yeah, I have the perfect umbrella. And so then I was like, okay, it's kind of weird. So I'm like, all right, let me just change it up a little bit. And I'm like, so what do you want to do before the mud puddle? Like see if I can get him to be normal. And I couldn't. That's when he was like, well, I'm hoping you'll be walking around with the umbrella saying, tut, tut, tut. It looks like rain.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think after that, I was like, I can't humor this anymore. I'm done. And I just stopped. And then he deleted his profile.
I had a termite inspection done on my house, or it was, scheduled. And I go to open the door and there's a very recognizable face at the other side of my door. And he's wearing the termite getup, the whole thing. And I read the name on the name tag. And I'm just like, whoa, like this guy, like one, he's really good looking. Two, I'm like, where do I know him? He looks so familiar. So I'm just checking him out the whole time. He's like in and out of my house, like taking this little stick thing and like poking the ceiling to like do termite tests on my house. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm thinking of all the ways I could just like flirt with him, get his Instagram, like whatever. Like I was really just feeling him. But none of that happened. But I kind of like could tell he was like checking me out a little bit, even though I looked very like toe up. I just got out of bed. Like my hair is a mess. Like hadn't put on makeup yet. My clothes aren't even matching. Like it's just a mess because you think it's an old fart that's going to be inspecting your ceiling.
It's your own adult film.
I know. Oh, well, funny you should say that.
Oh, okay.
I came out for some wine, but have no appetite. I think I'll bid you adieu for the night. But before I depart, I must ask, be open. Can I have the name and number of your friend? Because it's obvious you borrowed a picture from somebody you know. But I understand if you'd rather just go. A blind date does not mean that I cannot see. And it's pretty obvious you catfished me.
Thank you for being along for the ride on the Swipe Wrong podcast. The show is produced by Jay Pelham. You want to reach out to us? We want to hear your story. 317-426-6616. Make sure to text, leave a voicemail. We'll get back to you. Shoot us an email at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, YouTube. We are definitely out there. I am the host of the show. My name is Chaos. And please make sure to take a listen to us next week because the saga, it continues.